Hello. Welcome back. Thank you for your patience as we navigate technical challenges. Hopefully, the third time is the charm. My name is Jamie Tworkowski. I'm the founder of To Write Love on Her Arms. This is TWLOHA at Home. Aaron, I see your request. All right, I think we're adding him. My
Yeah,
man, we got it. Dude, thank you for being here. Thanks for waiting patiently.
cool. No worries, man. No worries. I don't know what it was doing. I don't know why it wouldn't join, but
Yeah,
all good.
it's okay. There's
All good.
ghosts in the machine. Where are you at? It looks great. You have a cooler background than me.
I'm at our new office, but the background was curated by Stefan. So,
Oh, Stefan has great style.
yes.
It's worth
Yes.
noting
Oh,
Stefan, who he's talking about, is a To Write Love on Her Arms board member. And I
yeah.
always point out he's the best dressed board member, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he's the best dressed board member. He's the best dressed like counselor in our office.
Oh yeah. He's
So,
probably our coolest friend.
yes, definitely. Definitely.
Um,
Denny's like
well,
second, I think, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Your wife's pretty cool though.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So you talked about your office. Will you tell us a little bit about Solace and the work that you get to do?
Yeah, yeah. Technically, we are licensed mental health counselors, and we are in Orlando, in downtown. Michelle, my wife, you might have seen her on. She was on this live with Jamie last Tuesday. She's a counselor as well. So her and I opened this office almost 11 years ago. And so Stefan, that we were just talking about, he works with us, and then another friend of ours, Matt. And this actual building, we actually just moved to literally like the day all this madness started. So
Yeah,
we're like super pumped. We've been in our old office for 10 years, which was great, but we wanted a little bit more space, and this is a really cool building. If you're in Orlando, it's right on Robinson and Mills, and so it's like right in our same like neighborhood, 3 blocks away. But we literally moved in and then sent all our clients messages, and we're like, yeah, but you can't come. So like we're gonna do everything video. So no clients have actually been here yet. It's just us like kind of social distancing ourselves in different rooms, whenever we kind of come in and do a little bit of work and stuff. So, but it's a great space. I like it. You'll like it. You have to come see it.
yeah. Is there a Starbucks across the street? Because I was always partial to that.
There is no longer a Starbucks across the street, but Lineage is pretty close, and Starbucks is 3 blocks. So I mean, we're pretty good. You
Yeah.
know, our
So
options are solid.
if it's cool with you, we can bounce around a little bit. We hear from a lot of people who are curious about becoming counselors. Maybe they're already on that path or they're just thinking about it. I asked Michelle this a week ago, but I wonder what your journey was like in terms of, thinking through, hey, I think I want to go this route, and just what that process has been like, to now you're sitting in the office of a counseling office that you own.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think I mean the seed that like kind of even exposed me to the idea was actually one of my good friends that I grew up with, my buddy Gil. His house was the house where we like always, I mean, we kind of like spent like our teenage years, like sitting either on his back porch or around his kitchen table. And his mom was, she was a therapist. And I knew she was a therapist. I had no idea what that meant. But I knew she asked me really good questions, and she told me when I was doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
She would
You
call it
probably
out.
have friends that would describe you that way.
Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully, but I mean, I didn't understand anything else other than I was like, man, okay, that's kind of cool. Whatever Sue does, she apparently does it well. So when I went to college, I did a psych degree, and then ended up in grad school and found a counseling program and gave it a shot and really loved it. Just have really felt like, man, this is something that I really love doing. And so then Michelle went and got her graduate degree in counseling right after I finished, and so we started doing it. And it's been, I mean, I think there's a million things I would say. Um, I mean, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known that it looks like this. It's something that I think you end up learning things just about yourself and about people that you never even knew existed. And so in that, it has never been boring. it is always kind of pulled at like your own heart and your own growth. So it's been a huge thing for us, and we really loved it and enjoyed it.
That's awesome, man. And you met your wife along the way, right?
I met her in Gainesville when we were still doing undergrad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So met her,
That's
and she was sitting across the room in a Bible study. I was like,
yes.
hey.
That's good stuff. So we like focusing on this current context. We know it's a challenging time for so many people. And so I wonder, what has it been like doing your job in this unique season?
Yeah, I think it's rough. I think thankfully, the thing that I think we can be really grateful for is technology and the platforms that we have. It is so good. Even just 10 years ago, it would have been almost impossible to be able to pull off what we're pulling off now. So we transitioned everything we do to all, we would call telehealth, or video counseling, so all doing it virtually. And it's really, honestly, it's worked way better than I think I probably thought it would. A few folks here and there are like, wait, I don't know, but I'm like, okay, if we can kind of figure out the technology, it actually works better than people
Yeah.
think. So
Can
when
we
I
just
talk,
call it FaceTime? I feel like FaceTime has less of a stigma.
so basically just FaceTime. So yeah, but you would think, I think people, I think one of the reasons why people feel nervous about it is because sometimes like the thought of going to like a new counselor, people feel nervous anyway. So people are like, oh, because it sounds different.
Yeah.
But then most everybody has been like, oh no, this is good, it's great. So it's worked really well. We've been able to do it, and so we're working a ton and helping people out, and so
Yeah.
people felt like they connected with it.
What are there certain unique challenges or things that keep showing up in terms of what people are struggling with now versus maybe 2 months ago?
Yeah. Well, and I think just speaking to like kind of the generalities of what everybody's going through, there are definitely some things. I think, one thing I would definitely say, like the articles that are popping up in the past like week and a half that talk about like Zoom fatigue, that is real. That is such a huge thing, and I've had a lot of conversations with folks that have kind of underestimated the toll it's taking. And so they get to like the end of their day and they've done a bunch of like Zoom meetings for their work,
Yeah.
and they're exhausted, and they don't understand why they're exhausted. And there's something about, I think, just the specific technology challenge. There's some good stuff out there now. People are writing about it in the past week or two, but it's seeing somebody through a screen. It's totally better than nothing,
Yeah.
but it doesn't affect us the same way as being in the
Sure.
presence of somebody.
Yeah.
So even just the things that happen in what we would call like the interpersonal neurobiology, all the things that happen in you when you are with somebody, the subtleties and the things that we pick up on subconsciously, and body language and tone of voice, and just all those subtle looks, as well as just the things that are smells and things that we don't even realize. Those are huge. And so when we're trying to connect through a screen, even if you're doing a Zoom call with 8 or 10 people, you are actually working way harder to
Yeah.
connect in the present. So you're going to feel the weight of that. That's going to be kind of exhausting, more so than I think many of us suspect. So we've seen that. I'm hearing that a ton. And I would even say we felt some of that for sure.
Sure. No, that's good. I assume, I think we hear a lot about anxiety right now because it makes sense that it's such an uncertain time. I wonder if you could talk about that. And I also wonder just how basic needs. So even, hey, can I pay my rent this month? Can I buy groceries this week? How does that factor in terms of mental health right now?
Yeah. Well, for many people, the basic stuff is huge. Some people are living, some people literally are living wondering where they're going to get a paycheck and how they're going to pay bills,
Sure.
and that's very, very, very real. I think there's other people who are completely financially comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And the odd thing, not really odd, but it's interesting, is that like anxiety is showing up on kind of both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've talked to folks who they're working a ton. And Michelle and I have talkked about like we're working and we're figuring out how to teach second grade.
Yeah, totally.
Gosh,
My sister is right there with you. Yeah.
dude, it's so wild. very thankful for teachers that will get on Zoom and get their champs.
Mm.
It's like a train wreck watching that stuff. But I think this, I think one of the reasons why this period has brought so much anxiety is because it literally has, it has kind of taken away everybody's buffer. You know, all the little things that we do that are like our points of normalcy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you get up and you know your sister just said second grade
I
is
saw
hard.
that.
Hard. But all the things that like we do that create that sense of normalcy, many of them take away.
Being a dog is hard.
It is so hard.
Stop.
But they've kind of been taken away, and that really kind of just that erodes away a lot of what feels like our foundation.
Yeah.
You know, so the ways in which that we're accustomed to coping are kind of stripped away. The things that we know we have to do, you know, whether that's just get up, I got to go to school, get up, I got to go to work, I got to do this, that those actually create some sense of structure and normalcy for us. Right. And so when we take away the things that kind of create structure and normalcy, we're left with a whole lot of uncertainty. And uncertainty is like this just really powerful element that for many of us breeds a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, whether that anxiety is like pretty dramatic, like spikes, or whether it's just kind of that subtle undercurrent, that sense of uncertainty. I mean, we don't even know when this is going to end, right?
Sure.
You know, we don't even necessarily know when we think it should end. Like we don't,
Yeah.
you know, so there's just this whole realm of things being really unsure. And I think that creates like this kind of like almost chronic low level, like undercurrent of anxiety for many of us, for sure.
No, that's good, man. Thank you for all that. You and I talked earlier today, and you talked about something you've been thinking through that came up in a session recently, and the difference between being productive and being effective. And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking about that earlier, and how Jamie and I got started talking about that. You know, is you were asking about like what do we do? How are people coping? You know, and I think there's some wonderful memes out there now. You know, because I think like 3 weeks ago everybody's like, ooh, okay, 2-3 weeks staying home. I'm gonna like start my new podcast. I'm gonna like work on, you know, I'm gonna like get in shape. I'm gonna do this. You know, then you get a few weeks in and you're like, well, that didn't happen.
Totally.
Like, you know.
Well, and it's like people decided they're done, even if stay at home's not done. Like,
yeah. Like, oh, I think I'm over it. But I mean, I think part of it is like, you know, many of us, like we walk into this and I think one of the things I told you earlier is people keep talking about this as like unprecedented times, right? But we walk into unprecedented times with the same old skills you always had, you know, or the same old like tendencies we always had. And so some of us walked into this and we're like, okay, everything feels out of control. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to like get in control, and I can control my eating, or I can control working out, or I'm going to start the podcast. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Which, I mean, that's like a studied thing. That's a you know, psychological kind of tendency that shows up individually. It shows up organizationally, where when things feel out of control, we tend to drill down on things we can control. And our culture loves to celebrate like visible productivity.
sure.
You know? And so, you know, people kind of set out, I think I said this on the podcast last week, people set out with almost like with this like, you know, pressure that you need to like be your best quarantine self.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, that's intense.
Yeah.
Because this is like, this whole thing is like this like really like weird time of like unsettling trauma, because basically like what we know of reality just completely flipped upside down and now it's different. You know, and so we're like, okay, everything feels strange. I'm going to get in the best shape I've ever been in.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just kind of thought, man, like that push to productivity for some of us can be really helpful, but for many of us, it kind of ends up being an effort to try and like, okay, I'm going to like kick this thing's ass. I'm going to, you know, do the quarantine the best I can. And it can end up being kind of unhelpful. And so one of the ways that I was thinking through it that was just helpful for me was going, okay, the word productivity for many of us can feel really helpful. For a lot of us, though, it tends to carry this like interesting like level of judgment in it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting enough done. I should have done this. man, I've been home for 4 days. I mean, some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been home for 4 days and I haven't gotten anything done, you know? And it kicks in these like voices of critique and judgment, which honestly in times like this are like usually the opposite of helpful.
Mm.
You know? Because they're like usually shaming. There's usually a lot of guilt there, and then we're usually just going to go kind of self-medicate that guilt, right? And usually kicking our own ass is not a way to like get better or to get in shape.
Yeah.
And so I kind of came to this place last week where I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I wonder if there's a different way we can think about what it means to be effective, and what it means to be able to make effective choices. Because there's a sense where in the midst of some of this chaos, it is good to feel in control of some things and to feel empowered to affect the world around me.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to go, hey, you know what, I can choose to do some things that are going to make my day feel a little bit less chaotic.
Sure.
I can choose to get up a little early and go and get a workout or get a run, and because I know it's going to leave me feeling way more ready to like face the day.
Yeah.
You know, I can choose to do some of those things. And so to me, I've kind of been encouraging people, let's think about like, what does it look like to make effective choices? You know, to feel empowered, like I have some say in some of this and how I respond to some of this, without kind of judging myself that I didn't get the yard like as perfect as I wanted it, or I
Sure.
didn't, you know, I didn't write the blog that I've always been meaning to write, you know,
Yeah.
that I didn't do any of that. That's okay. You know, it's okay to kind of be kind to ourselves in this time.
Yeah.
Still make choices that can
Sure. Oh, that's good, man. I wonder, would you mind sharing? I've tried to ask every guest this, but are there certain rhythms or certain things, you could call it self-care? I know for you it might be exercise, but are there things you've been leaning into that have helped you feel good in this time?
Yeah, you and I talked about this. I mean, I have been. I kind of became a little bit. I don't want to claim this, but I became a little bit of a runner in the
Yeah.
past.
It sounds like a
Um,
lot of a runner.
but I mean, I don't want to claim it. You
I'll
know,
claim
because
it for
you
you.
know, yeah, thank you. No, but I mean, I was inspired by guys like Chad Moses, you know, and our buddy CJ, and so I've kind of really enjoyed that. That's been really helpful. And so I've done some, you know, dark 30, you know, 5:30 a.m. miles, and the cool thing about doing that at 5:30 a.m. is you can run down the middle of the street because there's nobody and no
Did you see
cars.
Ben's nickname?
Great. Huh?
Ben left a good comment. It's a new nickname for you.
Oh man,
Old A Runnick.
like it. I like it. But but so I've been doing some of that. But I think what I've had to kind of realize is, I mean, just my own like inner voice. Like I'm kind of a sucker for like, you know, somebody's running like faster than me, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep up with you. And so I've had a couple times in the past 2 weeks that my body was like, no,
Yeah.
you're not. You should go home. And so I had to realize like, man, I love doing this, but I can definitely overdo this. And when I start overdoing this, it's going to actually have a negative effect.
Yeah.
And so I've had to kind of look at that balance and go, man, what does it look like for me to pursue a little bit of discomfort? Because it's not comfortable waking up at 5 or 5:30. But it has been really helpful for me to go, man, that's a discomfort that I can kind of step into and push myself a little bit. But it's kind of like a lovingly pushing myself, because, you know, when we ran last weekend, I knew the point that I mean, I was running and I was like, yeah, I can feel my knee. And I know that if I keep going, and if I do that, I'm pretty much going to be in a bad mood for the next 2 days because I'm going to be in pain. And so I called it, you know. And so balancing those rhythms, I think, has been helpful for me.
Yeah. No, that's good. What about you talked briefly, or you mentioned teaching second grade in the midst of this, and I wonder, you know, I'm not a parent. We've heard from a couple parents, my sister being one of those, but what has it been like? Your work looks different in a way, it's more challenging, and then you add spending way more time with your kids and trying not only to pass the time but to teach your kids. And how are you managing all of that?
Yeah. We're managing it.
Yeah.
We're making it. I mean, I think my son's actually here right now.
Awesome.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think like it has really been like an effort, and honestly, I'm not very good at this. It's been an effort of realizing things that are just outside of our control. you know, that I want to go, man, okay, well, you guys need to get this done. We need to get this done. This is too messy. You didn't get this done on time. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And we're just not, like Lindsay said, it's okay to say not great. You know, like it's just hard. And so it's been an effort to go, man, like it's okay that that didn't get done. It's
Sure.
okay that we didn't do that perfectly. It's okay that that was a little bit of a mess. Like, and so it's been this like effort, I think, to try and figure out, man, what do we, what's kind of really important,
Yeah.
and what's really not. Like, and I remember a professor of mine in grad school being like, man, the first class I ever took in grad school, I was sitting in the room, and everybody's like pumped and motivated, and they're gonna like kill this program and do great. And him being like, hey, some of y'all are going to get A's through every class you take. And if you do, that'll be tragic, because that'll mean that your family probably really suffered. And he's like, some of y'all really need to plan on getting some C's, because that'll mean that you're caring for the people around you well.
Wow.
It like really struck with me. And so I've had to be like, man, in some of these areas, like we need to get C's.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some of these areas, like it's like, okay, so they didn't finish math. Okay, so dad got a little too pissed off because
Yeah.
there was crap all over the floor, you know, and like, you know, it's like, okay, how do we kind of be a little bit more gentle with ourselves and slow down, you know? And so, you know, but we've enjoyed, there's pieces that we've enjoyed, you know,
Yeah.
Michelle and I were talking about it. We're like eating dinner, because we typically would be working some nights, but we're not really working nights at all. And so eating dinner outside, out back in the backyard with the kids and stuff, it's been
Mm,
really cool. Like, it's
that's
been
rad.
really fun. I've spent more time like playing in my front yard. If my son would walk over here, he could tell you that he beats me in kickball,
Yeah.
a lot.
Do you guys play one-on-one kickball? That's a lot of work, I think.
It's a lot of work.
Our friend and my coworker, Kat Bakash, was just on, so she's a new mom soaking up your wisdom.
Yeah, no, they're awesome. They got plenty of wisdom.
They
Plenty
are
of wisdom.
awesome. Are you cool with taking a couple questions from
Yeah,
people? And
yeah,
I'll
definitely.
remind you guys watching, there's a question mark icon. We've got a few questions that are already waiting. But if you have a question for Aaron, this is the perfect time. So we're going to get to a couple of those. Let's see. Oh, this is good. What's it like being two therapists in a relationship? Do you guys therapize? Is that a word? Each
That
other?
is, man. Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I mean, one in one way, it is really really helpful. In part because I mean I think it'd be like being a cop being married to a cop. You
Yeah,
know, like you understand what each other's experience is like. You understand like what that you know, kind of like what just it's like being you. Do you want to see,
sure.
buddy? Here, come here. Oh, he's shy. Sorry.
Hi,
Okay.
Dylan.
Hey, Dylan. They said hey. Um, it's Jamie. You know Jamie. But I think I mean, the other piece too is, I mean, you know, Michelle would tell you the same thing. Like some days it's like, man, like it's really helpful because we can kind of, you know, go, okay, this is what's going on. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling this way. Other days, I think it like causes us to like regress, you
Yeah,
know, because you're like, man, like we, you know, you're just like, so in that sense, like it's not like this. Oh man, we sit at dinner and have these weird, like we sound like therapist conversations. If anything, like we've both learned because we've been married a lot of years now.
yeah,
We've been a long time, and we've learned like that's a real quick. And Michelle's probably said it to me more. She's like, "Don't, dude, don't therapize me." Like, no.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, got you.
Wait, so
Like,
that is a word.
that's a therapist word. I don't think it's like a real word.
I don't know. I don't think I had
Like,
experienced that word until today. I like it.
yeah, it's a therapist. I think it might just be in our own like code language between
Yeah.
us, you know. But yeah,
Okay, I like that answer. We'll get to a couple others. This is a good one. Did you work while you were in grad school and while you were obtaining the hours required to become a licensed mental health counselor?
yeah, yeah. When I was in grad school, I actually worked. Don't be on the table, buddy. I actually worked in a church, and so we were actually doing some youth and family ministry and stuff, which was actually really helpful because it was just being kind of in people's lives and stuff. So walking into the field, that was a great experience. Counseling is a really interesting field where any experience prior to becoming a counselor is good experience. Like literally, like wherever you work, whatever you do, it's helpful. Um, like I think that's, that's one thing I tell people is because sometimes there's this feel right now where people are like, okay, I'm going to go through school. I'm going to, finish college, and I'm going to push through a grad program and do it really fast. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And counseling is an interesting field where I always tell people, I'm like, take a few years off and work and do something else that you enjoy, that you're passionate about. Because any life on life experience just in a work field will always help you, because you're going to be having conversations with people that work in fields that you never knew existed. And so which is so cool. I think I did work too while I was getting, you have to, as a therapist, just like if you're a doc in the ER after you come out of grad school, you have to work somewhere, kind of still fulfilling internship hours. And so I worked in an outpatient, state and federally funded addictions clinic in downtown Orlando. And it was a rough little spot, and it was a great job and the best professional decision I ever made in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful experience. That's the best thing I would ever tell people is just work a bunch of places, get as much different experience as you can. It's super helpful.
Yeah. And I feel like that's true of almost any field. I thought of that only because I saw someone asked a singer-songwriter for advice. I was watching one of these, and that was their answer, was like, just sing as many places as you can. Like, so
Right.
I like that. All right, these are good questions. Thank you, guys. Lindsay, that was a great comment. We see
That is a
you.
good comment.
Let's see here. Oh, I like this one. We're going back to Lindsay. How important is it to connect with nature or the outside physical world right now? For those of you who don't know, Lindsay is one of our coaches. She is wonderful. Her husband, Denny, has been a guest on this show. I've been calling it a show. He is a licensed mental health counselor. Dylan, hey, buddy.
Hi.
I heard you've been beating your dad at kickball.
Maybe.
Nice. All the time.
Do you?
Yeah, Lindsay. Great question. Man, I think it's super important right now. To be honest, I come from a perspective. I think it's always important. There's something about nature and what we call the kind of the outside world that is really grounding to us. It's grounding to us emotionally. It helps our focus cognitively, but even just physiologically, the things that happen to you when you're in the presence of nature, in the presence of beauty, and having like your hands and feet in the dirt and in the grass is really, really, really good. And in some ways, I believe it's a really necessary balance to the interactions we have with technology. Technology kind of just brings out different stuff physiologically in the body. And so being able to kind of find ways to connect in nature. And I know for some people, who live in the city, you're going, man, how do I do that? Sometimes literally that's just being outside. Sometimes that is being outside and finding ways to allow your senses to work. One of the things that I encourage people all the time is just go sit somewhere outside and pay attention to things that you see, things that you hear, go through the senses and do some connecting. And it is amazingly helpful.
Denny talked about a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is really good.
Which I guess I ended up just Googling it after he mentioned it, but you could probably Google 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 anxiety.
Yep. Yeah, you can do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise, which is like noticing 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you touch, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. But walking through it, that's just really helpful, because like often, one of the things that anxiety does is it just disconnects us, disconnects us from other people, disconnects us from like reality, but it even disconnects me from my body.
Yeah.
And so grounding my body, actually, it goes a long way towards lessening anxiety and finding myself more at home in myself. If that makes sense.
Our buddy Jerry Lawson, he asked a good question in the comments, but sort of a simple question, but just asked, how important is it to talk about what we're feeling right now?
Yeah, man, I think it's huge. Because like we mentioned connecting, we mentioned, kind of just how anxiety disconnects. The whole thing about this time period disconnects us. It disconnects us from normalcy, disconnects us from all of our kind of support networks that we would normally see, I have friends who, are home who are like, am I going to not have physical contact with another human, for months? Like, what's that like, and so while there's not a one-to-one substitute for physical contact, I think reaching out to where we can talk to people about what we're going through. And so that's the cool thing about this time, is like calling people that you haven't called in a long time
Sure.
is like complete fair game in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Like haven't talked, like Rich Sullivan and I hadn't talked in months, and we had a great conversation the other
He
day.
left a comment a few minutes ago.
Did he really?
Love Rich, yeah.
But I mean, like now is the time that it's like all bets are off.
Yeah.
Because it's like it is fair game to reach out. And so, pandemic, whatever. Before this, but definitely during this, you still have the need to feel seen and heard. Yeah. And so sometimes that is calling people and just going, "Hey, I want to check in on you. Also wanted to ask you, could you check in on me?" Like,
yeah.
And just put that out there, like step into that vulnerability. I think it's huge.
Hey, it's cool timing that we have you, because we just released the new podcast episode, To Write Love on Our Arms podcast episode, with you and I believe Chad from our team, right?
Yes, sir.
And I wonder if you could kind of give people a sneak peek. What could they expect? What can they find in listening to that?
Oh, I'm probably saying the same stuff. No, I mean, Chad and I talked for quite a while. And so if you've never heard Chad is a brilliant dude who's probably like one of the deepest feeling empathic people I know. And he has a really wonderful ability to communicate that really well. So Chad and I have a conversation about just some ways to walk through this. And so we unpack a little bit more of, like when I'm talking about being effective and choosing ways to care for ourselves well, we spend a little bit more time unpacking what that can look like, because that looks different for everybody. For some of us, that looks like, some of y'all need to get up early and go for a run. Some of y'all need to sleep in and calm your ass down, so we unpack a little bit about just what it looks like to have some compassion on ourselves and walk through some of that. So
that's awesome, man. Do you mind if we do one more question?
No, go for it.
Okay, great. Let's see. I like this one. I know you've gotten this before. How do you take care of your own mental health? And I'm sure there's a long answer and a short answer. How do you take care of yourself so you can best serve your clients?
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, like, one of the givens is, I'm pretty, I kind of have to stay physically active, or else I get really in a wonky headspace real easy, and so like physical activity has been really important for me. Learning to balance that though with like what's like kind of pushing a little bit of discomfort in healthy ways, and then balancing that out. I still do a lot of yoga. I'm also a yoga instructor, so I practice on my own regularly. I was doing it today, and so that balance of like back and forth is really helpful. But I still have a therapist.
Yeah.
Michelle and I still see somebody, and that's been huge. As a therapist, I'm always encouraging other therapists, man, go to therapy. When I meet therapists who have never gone to therapy, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, sure.
If for another reason, I'm like, dude, you're missing out, man.
Yeah.
Like, so having like that professional piece. But I really have to have, I have some friends and some guys that I check in with regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I have guys that they know me. They can tell if I'm overwhelmed. They'll call me if I've disappeared.
Yeah.
They're guys that I can, when they say, "Hey, man, how was your week?" It is a very real, "How was your week?"
Yeah.
And so I really try and stay in contact with those guys regularly. CJ's one of those dudes. A few other guys, and that's important. That's like really life-giving for me.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's awesome, man. I love that. The last comment is every good therapist needs a good therapist.
That's right. Totally. Passing it on down.
How can people in Central Florida, or maybe someone's watching, they know someone in Central Florida, how can folks find you guys?
Yeah, solacecounseling.org is the website, so you can find us on there. Yeah, you can find the Solace Counseling FL is the Instagram.
You guys are off to a good start.
It was set up recently. We're trying.
It's looking good.
But yeah, and then yeah, if there's yeah, we're always down. Michelle and I, Stefan, Matt, we're always down if we can ever answer questions, even just about the field and stuff for people. You know, we like doing a lot of that. So feel free to hit
are
us
you
up.
guys seeing some new clients in this time?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think, which is cool. I mean, I'm always like, you know, counseling and therapy, it's not as stigmatized as it was, you know?
Sure.
But I always just like, man, hey, if somebody reaches out because they want to engage like a vulnerable process to try and work through stuff, that's pretty badass. Like, that's really freaking cool. And so when people reach out in the middle of the pandemic and they're like, screw it, I'm going in, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
How
You
cool
know,
is
it's funny.
that, right?
I did an event, I think it was March 3rd in New Jersey, and my buddy Eric, who's a counselor, joined me for Q&A. He's from Delaware, and we got an email from someone in the last couple of days curious about connecting with him as a counselor, and that's, you know, 6 weeks ago, which I love. And we've talked about that. We've experienced that, or you have, with Heavy and Light, where someone hits you up a year later.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, that's always some of the coolest things. Like when we do events and stuff, is like that. You know, like people be like, yeah, 3 years later, like, hey, I found this flyer, and
Yeah.
you know, well, that's cool. But I think that's like that speaks to. I mean, I think for all of us, like we hit different times when we have different needs, and you know, and so we get there, and like, and sometimes it's the right day when we're like, dude, that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
So
Someone said that was me. That's awesome. Thanks
that's
for
fun.
thanks for
Right
tuning
on.
in. I love it. That made me smile. Well, man, thank you so much. Thanks for being available. Thanks for being our voice, one of our primary voices of wisdom for 14 years.
Hey, it's
And
been
yeah,
fun.
we're so grateful for you and Michelle. We've had a bunch of adventures over the years.
Yes, we
And
have.
and for me, it's been fun. I kind of shared this earlier, but it's been neat to see you grow. I think as a therapist and just as a person, I feel like it's cool watching you become curious about new intersections, whether it's
Yeah.
diving or breathing or running. I think, 10, 12 years ago, I would have said, oh, my buddy Aaron, he's a counselor, he's a surfer. And now it's cool seeing words get added to that list.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun thinking back to where we were when we started doing this in 2006, and Michelle and Denny and I have talked about this too, because Denny's been around for a lot of it too. I just feel like the work that like the Try Love team has done, and that we've gotten to kind of just be a part of and along the ride for, we've just learned so much. Like the conversation, like because being in the therapist's office is awesome, but also just having open conversations like this, talking about it, and on campuses and in bars, and talking about mental health in terms of everyday life, is really huge. So that was really helpful.
Oh man, I agree. Well, we're grateful for you and look forward to being able to be in the same room before too long.
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah.
thanks for your time. Thanks for the important work that you guys do, and Stefan as well. Tell Dylan thanks for his patience.
Oh, he's right here. He's ready. He's like,
You guys got a kickball date? Dylan, are you gonna play kickball later?
I don't know. Sure.
Dylan, you're a kid. What else have you been doing for fun in this time?
I don't know.
I bet you know.
Probably playing on the iPad.
No. That's no. That is not true. No, that's not true. Look at that guilty face.
Wait, what else do you like, Dylan?
Football.
Fishing? I've seen some fishing pictures.
Yeah, he's a good fisherman. Stop pulling on my shirt. He's a good fisherman. Maybe a little bit of the iPad has.
Yeah, that's okay. No shame.
No shame.
I've seen some people talk about how screen time is out the window right now.
Yeah, we're making it.
Jess is laughing, so she's with you.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. He's a great kid. This kid is a great dude.
Yeah. And Dylan has a twin sister.
Yes, he does.
What would her answer be? What's she been doing?
Man, she'd probably say iPad, but we've been watching like some shows together at night. We finished Lego Masters. If you have kids and you didn't watch Lego Masters, you should go watch Lego Masters because that was amazing.
Yeah.
So we watched Lego Masters. Now my kids are into Wicked Tuna. So we
You
watch
mentioned that.
we watch reality shows about cooking and stuff, which I'm down. It's great.
Yeah.
So a little bit of that. Apparently, they told me we're going on a run when we get home, and they went on a run with
Nice.
mom. They ran with mom first thing this morning before school.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
You
so
guys are doing great. Be encouraged.
we're making it. We're making
Well,
it.
man, we'll let you
So,
go. Thanks again for your time, and we'll talk to
yeah,
you soon.
thank you. Thanks everybody for chiming in. It's good to see you, buddy.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye.
See you, man.
See ya. You guys, thank you so much. This has been a long one. We had some technical challenges, but we got through it. Thank you to Lorenza Izzo and Aaron Moore from Solace Counseling. I just want to quickly run back through the announcements. Check out our Fear Won't Win landing page on TWLOHA.com. There's a whole bunch of good stuff there. Podcast episodes, downloads, coloring pages, Zoom backgrounds, videos, all sorts of things. Run for It 5K. Please sign up for that. No matter where you live, you are invited to move for something that matters. Run, walk, whatever it looks like for you. Saturday, May 16th, there's also a fundraising aspect to the run. We're trying to raise $85,000. We're about halfway there. We're also in the middle of a $10,000 matching grant thanks to our friends at Healthline. So if you give $10 today, it turns into 20. You can learn more, runforit5k.com, runforit5k.com. 320 Fest is coming up May 8th through the 10th. I'm excited to speak on a panel. We'll keep you posted with the details. And as always, we want to point you to the self-care button on our website, top right corner, and also the Find Help tool, top right corner of our homepage, TWLOHA.com. Anyone, anywhere in the United States, you simply enter your zip code. You can connect with local resources, including free and reduced rate services. Hi, Sarah. Good to see your name. Hope you're doing well. That's been something we're so proud. We had Aaron Bakash from our team on last Thursday. He manages the Find Help tool, the Find Help program for us, and he gets to help people connect with professional help. If you have a question regarding that, you can email findhelp@twaloha.com. If you have a general question for our team, you can email info@twaloha.com. And let's see, so today is Tuesday. Thursday, 2 days from now, same time, 4 p.m. Eastern, I will be talking to my friend Miles Adcox. And Miles is the CEO of something called Onsite, which is an amazing, oh man, they do a bunch of things. They do work in treatment, they do intensive counseling. I spent a week there a couple summers ago. They're just doing such vital work. Typically that happens in person, but in the last few weeks, they've been able to offer a lot of their programs online. So Miles also lives here in Nashville, and I'm excited to have a conversation with him. And we will leave it there. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for showing up, watching, listening. And as always, please stay safe, stay healthy. We're going to get through this one day at a time. We don't know what a week from now looks like. We don't know what a month or a year from now looks like, but we just have to do one day at a time. As Aaron said, keep reaching out, surprise someone with a FaceTime, a phone call. We are limited, things have been canceled, but we still need relationships. We still need to be connected to one another. And again, we want to point you to our website. There's lots of good stuff there for this unique moment in time. So on behalf of our team, thanks again. We will see you in 2 days. You guys have a good evening. Take care.